Well, I never thought I would say it, but there is actually a use for AI right now in video games that is actively being used by Call of Duty that the majority of people actually really like. A lot of people really agree with this. It's very weird to say that because pretty much any use of AI in video games has been pretty heavily criticized. I would say the majority of gamers and people in general just don't like it. So for the past year now, so ever since Modern Warfare 3 came out in 2023, Call of Duty has been using something called ToxMod to moderate their voice chats in their games. Now, this is something by Modulate, a company that it would seem uses different AI programs and sells it to other companies. Now, I didn't know about this. Apparently, it was public knowledge, but now, just yesterday, Call of Duty has released a big report on how this program has significantly improved the voice chat in Call of Duty in just a year now. And it would seem that now today, just being 2 weeks away from the release of Black Ops 6, they're wanting to continue to use this going forward in future CODs. So basically this program, ToxMod, it actually is kind of cool how it works. Yeah, basically it can use AI to monitor chat in real time. It can detect certain words that you say. Obviously, I'm sure they're using it to flag, offensive words, swear words, racial slurs, that kind of thing. Now what's interesting is that I do see that a lot of the ToxMod, the moderation of this voice chat is a lot more than just the words that are being said, but rather like the tone of voice. Yeah, it's weird. I don't really know how exactly that would work, but I guess they use this AI program to actually determine the tone of somebody's voice, which then determines if what they are saying is just kind of all in good fun or if it's like legitimate hate speech. Essentially, it is to assess if a player is being quote-unquote disruptive. Yeah, that's kind of the key word here, disruptive. Now, you could kind of say that that might be a bit of a gray area, and that could be, the one criticism about this, where is the line? How do you determine if something is actually disruptive if you are Activision? And obviously, I don't think we do have a straightforward answer on that right now, but whatever they determine as disruptive voice chat, it would seem that this program, ToxMod, has dramatically decreased this in just a year in Call of Duty voice chat. So Activision just said in their report they released yesterday that, quote, exposure to disruptive voice chat continues to fall, dropping by 43% since January 2024. And they also talked about how they wanted to expand the languages that this program moderates to French as well as German. Yeah, it's pretty interesting how, once upon a time, back in 2009, 2010, Call of Duty voice chat really put a lot of us, especially as kids, just in like the trenches of the battlefield of the internet. It was really just the Wild West, anything goes. In my years of playing Call of Duty back in those days, I have been called every name under the book. A lot of people consider that as a rite of passage, so to speak, but it's been very clear in recent Call of Duties that this is something that Activision is trying to drop. Even before this ToxMod moderation thing, they've been moderating voice chat. To some extent, they've had players reported for using language, and they've even had them, muted for a few weeks and like banned from voice chat, stuff like that. It would seem they are taking things a lot more serious nowadays with stuff like that, but it would seem they are kind of going by the method of work smarter, not harder. I really think this ToxMod voice moderation is very interesting, and it will be interesting to see how it is implemented in other games going forward. Call of Duty at the end of the day, with the community that it brings in, like I was saying before, it can be very toxic. So obviously what ToxMod can do for Call of Duty chat is probably more than what it can do for most, if not all, other games in terms of just like the sheer numbers of it. But that being said, I can still see stuff like this, programs that are powered by AI, very similar to this, being used in other multiplayer games with open voice chat going forward.